Peace, love, and light to you listening to my voice. Welcome to the Resilient Path, where life meets spiritual truth. I am Fran E, and this voice-led series is for the bold, the broken, and the becoming. On this path, we turn struggle into strength, pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, tears into testimony, and confusion into clarity. We walk in truth, we speak with love, and we acknowledge, honor, and serve the Spirit of God. Today's message is Part 2, The Rejection of the King above all kings. Why Israel asks for a king. Yesterday, I talked about how the people of Israel rejected God as their king. Today, we're going deeper into why they made that choice. Why did they turn away from God, who parted seas, rained down manna, and gave them victory after victory? Why did they say, "Give us a king," like the other nations? First, they wanted to be like everyone else. That is what they said. Give us a king like the other nations. They did not want to be different. Even though God had already set them apart, they were His chosen people, a holy people, a people meant to walk with Him. But they could not see the value in that, in being God's chosen people. They looked around and said, "We want what the other nations have." That is still happening today. People are leaving truth to follow trends, trying to blend in instead of being set apart. Second, they did not trust God to provide another leader. Samuel was getting old. His sons were not living right. But instead of trusting God to provide another leader, they asked for a king with no requirements except like other nations. After all God had done for them, parting seas, feeding them from heaven, delivering them from enemies, how could the elders think that God did not have a plan for His chosen people? They did not trust that God could raise up another Samuel or appoint another faithful servant. So they took control, and in doing so, they rejected their true king. Of course, God had a plan for His chosen people, just like He says in Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." But instead of trusting and waiting on God, they wanted what the other nations had. And many of us do the same thing today. They did not wait on God. They did not trust that His plan was better than what they could see with their eyes. They saw what the other 8 nations had, and they said, "We want that." And we do the same today. We rush into jobs, relationships, home, make decisions, then wonder why the pieces do not fit. We say, "God gave me this," but did we really ask Him first? I have done it too. But I've also seen the difference when I truly waited on God. I remember when I was living in an apartment and paying a certain amount. And I said, "God, I cannot really save much, and I have a son." I said, "I think I should try to get a house as an investment for my son." I did not have much money, but I said, "I think I can pay an additional $200 more for a house." I talked to God. I asked Him if I could stretch my budget. I did not hear thunder from heaven, but I kept listening. What came next was a series of events I could never have orchestrated myself. I went looking with barely any money. I know the earth and everything in it belongs to God, and I'm His child. The first place I saw was Lot 69. I decided to look at other options. As I was leaving, I was told that there's no guarantee that Lot 69 will be available if I leave. And then I decided that I wanted it. I said calmly as I was leaving, if Lot 69 is mine, no one else will take it. And they did not. I moved into a home with almost no down payment. My mortgage came in exactly where I said I wanted it to be. And years later, during hardship, illness, and even after losing my mother, I was never without a roof. That was not luck. That was God. And that is why I say you should wait on the Lord, even when it seems as if nothing is happening. For me, I stated what I wanted. I moved towards what I wanted. And God opened all the doors and let me walk through peacefully. Even when the devil tried to put a wrench in to mess things up, it ended up blessing me. God will give you what is yours. There's no need to want what others have. Israel wanted what others had, but they did not realize they already had the King of Kings. And so do we. They had eyes, but they could not see. They had history, but no reverence for it. These are the same people whose ancestors walked through the wilderness. They ate manna from heaven. They saw God deliver them over and over. But it is like they forgot, or maybe they just wanted something they could touch. They wanted something tangible, something human. They wanted a man to lead them. They were used to having someone go before them, fight their battles, speak on their behalf. And even after all the miracles, they still did not want to know God for themselves. To me, when I read these scriptures, I see it over and over again. A grumpy, fickle, and inconsistent group of people. 1 minute they're singing praises, the next they're building idols. 1 minute they're thankful, the next they're complaining about what they do not have. It was a cycle. God would bless them, they would rebel. God would show mercy, they would wander again, over and over. Samuel, a man who was truly faithful. Yes, his children did not follow his ways, but that was not God's fault. And it did not mean God had no more leaders. It meant the people did not trust God's timing. They did not want to wait for his answer. They wanted a quick fix, a human king, just like everybody else. And here's what really stood out to me. It was not the young people who asked for a king. It was the elders. The elders, the ones who were supposed to be wise, the one who knew that the ones who knew what God had done, the ones who should have said, "Let's wait on the Lord." But instead they said, "Give us a king so we can be like other nations." No loyalty, no trust, no spiritual backbone. And if we're honest, many of us are still doing the same thing today. We put our faith in people, politicians, money, and vanity. We follow influencers, celebrities, even preachers, chasing after charisma instead of character. We want comfort more than consecration. We want image over integrity. we are still choosing kings. And every time we do, we reject the one and only God Almighty, the creator of the heavens and the earth. They chose the king. Actually, they asked for a king. And today, many of us are still doing the same. But it is not too late to choose differently. You do not have to follow the crowd. You do not have to settle for what the world offers. You do not have to chase after another king. The King of Kings is still here, and he still called us to walk with him. So before you move, before you commit, before you crown someone or something else with authority over your life, ask yourself, have I really waited on God? Have I sought him in spirit and in truth? Have I trusted that his plans, even when I cannot see them, are better than my own? The truth is, the rejection of the king did not just happen back then. It is happening now, in our choices, in our impatience, in our imitation of a world that continues to reject God, our King. But the good news is, God is waiting. He still wants to be your king. You can turn to God today. He is not going to turn you away. Start by reading the words in the Bible. Ask God for wisdom and understanding. Tell God you want him to take control of your life. Tell him you're doing your best, but you need him to do the rest. And thank him for loving you. Once again, this is The Resilient Path with Fran E. May your spirit stay strong, your mind stay clear, and your heart stay open. Peace, light, and love.